That which is cosmic awareness is available, and would ask you to proceed, Dee Dee.
Today's date is July the 25th, 2019. Will Berlinghoff is the voice of cosmic awareness, and Dee Dee is questioner and energizer. Does awareness have an opening message?
That this awareness does have an opening message. The message has to do with that which at this time is being experienced by many without perhaps their realization. That from the astrological viewpoint, especially that which is known as power path, the theme of this month is that of friction. And this means that there is indeed pressures that build up, that cause this frictional state. This is certainly being seen on the planet at this time from various angles, such as the angles of earth change that are happening with the many earthquakes and even volcanoes that are happening on the planet. This is the most classic level of friction, as the tectonic plates grind against themselves, building up great pressures due to the action of the tectonic plates confronting each other or pressing against each other. And this, of course, is friction that is released when the plates shift slightly, and this causes an earthquake. This is the pressure of Mother Earth that she is under, the friction that she is dealing with. This friction is also happening at the national level in America, where there is much pressure now building up for change, for breakthrough, for release of information, release of the truth of what is happening and has been happening in America for some time. This has not yet erupted, but it is most certainly building up. And thus there is national friction. There is international friction as well. Look in Europe for the various degrees of friction that are happening amongst the different nations, especially with the UK, where there is a friction in the nation of those who want to leave the European Union through Brexit, and those who do not want, who want to have another vote. There is great pressure, great friction occurring in the UK and elsewhere, in Europe and elsewhere around the world. But the friction this awareness really would draw your attention to is the internal friction that each individual may be experiencing at this time in their lives. This friction may be expressing itself in various ways. There may be friction of the body or within the body, as different status of the body is reached or different levels of health are challenged in each and every individual. Specifically, many are feeling problems with the digestion at this time and are experiencing pain and queasiness. This is certainly one body friction that is being experienced. Another is fatigue, and many are feeling extremely tired. This is the friction of staying awake in these high-pressured energies at this time. And then there is the friction that is emotional in nature. This in particular against others, especially if one is in an emotional relationship with others. That this may evidence itself through arguments and disruptions in the relationship with another. There is also that friction of feeling that nothing is happening, or that which you are imagining and visioning and that which you are working with is not happening. This is a very common sense because it seems largely that there is indeed great inactivity in most lives, with sparse moments of action and activity. This again creates an internalized friction. That which is the friction of one's personal experience at this time, whatever it may be, must be also recognized in this month of friction. So that if it is so that you are feeling irritable and out of sorts with yourself, with others, with your nation, with the planet herself, this awareness would ask you to retreat, to draw back, to give permission to have a break from it all, to actually recognize that you are feeling frictionalized, frictious, off center, off balance, and that it is perfectly all right when you are in such a state to retract somewhat from the situation that you might be in and find your own balance again, your own space again. If it is friction, for example, in a relationship, withdraw from the relationship as needed. This meaning that you may find it more advantageous to find your own space, take your own time for a while. Not to engage in argument, not to engage in eruption, but to withdraw, to find that space, take that time. This also to the political events in America, for example, that if you are becoming so agitated with it all, that perhaps it is time to turn the television off, or to disengage from the internet and the coverage of events. It does not mean permanently, it simply means for the moment. As you know, you are the center of the circle. And when you are in a state of friction, this is that which puts you closer to the edge of your own personal circle. And this is where that imbalance then can occur. This awareness said withdraw. It could also say draw back into the center of yourself. Find your balance again. Take the time that you need to find yourself, to find your center. For as the energies build, they will be released, often violently. And it is important that if there is a violent release, that you are not hit broadside by that violence, by that energy. Violence can express itself, of course, in many ways, and one is always advised to try to seek another solution than a violent solution. But if there is that building energy and it is that frictious, that pensive, that you find you are ready to explode, this is that violence. This awareness is speaking of that can and must be avoided by retreating, withdrawing, finding the centeredness of your being, letting the energies pass, for they will pass. And then you will find it is easy to resume your actions and activities. There is a type of responsibility here upon the individual to make sure that they are handling the situation. And for this, one must be willing to look at the situation. Unfortunately, and you will find this in the actions and reactions of others, most never take this type of time out, never look inwards or find that centeredness of their being. They are in reactive mode, for they are always on the edge of their circles, the edge of events. And that is why often there are explosive actions that take up their time and space. There is violent reaction to events, circumstances, and individuals. You are seeing it in your television screens every night on that which you call the news. That recently, and indeed this is ongoing in Canada, there are 2 teenagers who have recently killed 3 individuals, including an Australian man, an American woman, and a Canadian. And the country is on edge. They know who has done it. They know where these 2 boys are. They have retreated into the wilds of the state of Manitoba, province of Manitoba, rather. And there is a manhunt out for these 2. But the edginess that is there in Canada as this awareness speaks is quite extreme. And it is not being balanced by a sense of priority. And this is the energy of the violence that is being felt in the country of Canada and amongst the people, the Canadian people at this moment. It could be pushed to a violent result, as it is already known that these 2 boys may be killed because they will not give in, they will not surrender. This is the word. That this awareness is only using this as a broad example. There are many other examples that could be pulled forward, such as the violent atmosphere in Washington, D.C. at this time, the Democrats against the president, etc. But the point this awareness really is making is that at this time, when there is such friction, find the calmness within. Find the center within yourself. Know that it is all right, it is most definitely permissible to retreat into that center, to find the balance, to make sure that when you are feeling agitated and upset and the pressure is on, that you can do something about it. That it is your responsibility, in a manner of speaking, to do so. And that even if you do not hit it right away, as long as you are still willing to work with this energy, to find this balance, to find this centered space, that it will help in this time, these unsettled times, to carry you through and to find your way forward. That this is the opening message at this time.